But I will say this, when people always say, you know, oh, this guy's always busy taking pictures and photo shoots with all the different families.
That's so funny. That was one thing I addressed last time, was like, people really think that he's like a photo shoot dad, and he's not. I said self-accountability, to be
It's
like,
true.
this person isn't good for me, and we actually bring out the worst in each other. I bring out the worst in you for some reason. I trigger you in these ways, and we should move forward. So I just want to preface that, because I don't want to bash my prior partner.
Right.
I just want to say sometimes people just aren't good for each other. You know how we weren't allowed to talk to people at the rival station?
Yes.
Like our jobs were at stake.
Yes.
People don't know that.
Yes.
But, and I was the overnight chick and Nick was the morning show mujer. So he would be there going into work. I'd be coming out of work, and he started just coming in my DMs being like, come see me DJ, come see me, I see you DJ, come see me DJ. And I'm like,
Well, but you have always advocated to want those kids to get to know one another.
Absolutely.
To have those siblings get to know one another. And I admire that. Out of all of those mothers, I will say that you, and I'm not shading anybody, but what I'm saying is I really want to give you your props.
and I'll never forget that dialogue that we had. Was very adult, very mature, and it actually caused what I thought would be clarity in my heart, like my conscious. It actually caused clarity and healing for that person as well. So, and now I'm at a standpoint of finding the healthy balance, not getting back to who I was, because I don't want to go backwards, but just finding what the new journey is for me.
What do you want to do, Abby? All right, sis. Okay, so we already, when we get together,
so funny.
my abs and I,
Yes.
you know her as the gorgeous Abby De La Rosa.
Hello.
I call her my abs.
Yes.
I've always called her my abs, but
Yes.
your beautiful home, sis. It's always such a vibe.
Thank you.
And I just got to say, for everybody that knows that you're the beautiful Abby De La Rosa, and I know you as my sis and your family, and seeing you as a wonderful mother, and you're an on-air radio personality. That's how we met.
Yes.
And you're a DJ who actually spins the records and has a passion, and you're great at it.
Thank you.
And you're also an entrepreneur now as well.
Yes.
Tell us about that title of it, by the way, so that
Yes.
people can start to get up on it.
Yes, love in every frequency. I created for not just me, but my children here in my home. Everybody requires love in a different frequency, especially with my son having autism. And that's the head of it, and that's the heart of it, and that's where it was created.
But the thing is like, even when you talk about like love in every frequency, that's like who you are, you know?
Absolutely.
And the thing is, Abby, the way that we met, oh my
I love it.
God.
That's way into it. And the thing is,
Like,
Abby.
the way that we met.
Yeah.
First of all, let's take it back, sis. Let's take it way back, all right? Let's take it back to the fact that you are a girl from Whittier, where the girls are prettier. Let's talk about Abby when she was just that little girl, la niña, okay? Like, think about yourself at Bonita's age, at Julie and Zion's age. Like, talk to me about your upbringing, your family home life.
My family home life was everything I wanted or needed for nothing. I had beautiful parents who are still married to this day. Very patient, available father, a very loving and protective Capricorn mother. And I have an amazing sister and a very strong younger brother. And we grew up with everything you could imagine. Not the richest, not the poorest, just blessed, all in all. And I feel like that created, I also grew up in a really religious home at the time, but that created a foundation of a very strong conviction in my heart, how to treat people, how to move in society, how to be as a woman. But also I'm a very strong Latina who came from a very big Latina family. So that also aided in being able to adjust, adapt, and talk to everybody. And that was where my dream in becoming a radio personality really started from.
How old were you when you wanted to be an on-air personality?
Oh my God, I want to say I was 13 when I first heard Yessie Ortiz on the radio, who took over the LA airwaves. She was...
Shout out to Yessie.
Yeah, she was what you were. And I remember just listening to her on my drives to school or back from school, and just being like, who is this? Like, I want people to feel like I'm their homegirl too. I want to feel like like, I want to feel like they could talk to me about anything, or when they see me, hey girl, hey home girl, or like, that's my favorite girl or something. And I just remember feeling like, I wanted to do that. And I'll never forget my aunt. She would take me to all her clubs and DJ sets, and she was older than me. And she was
So your tia also did the...
No, but she was really big in the rave scene. And
Oh.
she would sneak me in with her to all her clubs and raves and things like that. And I'll never forget, she had this amazing DJ friend, if I'm not mistaken his name. God, I always said it, but he was a really big house DJ at the time, and we went to a very private backyard party, and she took me with her, and I remember wearing my Forever 21 jumpsuit. I was like 14, and she told him, she like stopped him, and she was like, my niece wants to be a radio personality. What advice can you give her? And he was like, in radio, it's all about your voice. Get yourself a mic. And when I close my eyes, I should immediately know who's talking and who's not talking, who the face is, what they look like. I should know that that's Abby De La Rosa on the,
That's good
end of the
advice
mic.
because
And
it's true.
yes. And I wasn't Abby De La Rosa at the time. So I just remember being like, oh, that's great advice. So I really did that. I really got a little karaoke machine, and I hooked it to my stereo, and I would tape myself on the karaoke machine being like, it's Abby De La Rosa, or Abby at the time was just Abby. And that was where my dream started.
So we met from being on air here in LA when I got here, but you weren't just an on-air personality, like you spin records. So how did you start with that part of it? Because I don't know how to picky. I don't know how to do that.
So it started from a really bad breakup, but initially I had a mentor, DJ Charisma, who, while she was DJ, I was on the mic. I was her MC, and I studied everything about her, except it's a lot harder when it's your time to actually spin. However, my really bad breakup pushed me into it. I needed something to do
Thank
with
God we
my
broke up with
hands.
him. I could not stand him. Oh my
Oh my God.
God.
I actually, it was a blessing in disguise. Not only was it a bad breakup time, but it was tax return time. So I remember getting my tax return and being like, I'm going to DJ. Nobody's going to know about it. I went to Guitar Center. All the stars aligned, which was so crazy. I couldn't afford the controller that I initially wanted. In the same Guitar Center, the person helping me was like, I know exactly who you are.
Oh, no way.
I've seen you MC with Charisma at Playhouse. I want to introduce you to a DJ who happens to be here today, and he can help you with getting a controller. And I remember being like, okay, who? And he introduced me to DJ Richie Rich, and he was sponsored by Pioneer at the time. And
Oh,
I showed
wow.
him the controller I wanted, which was $2,000, and I think that controller was $1,500. My tax return was $1,500, and I remember being like, I really want this controller. He's like, listen, I'm sponsored by Pioneer. I have 12 of those in my garage,
wow.
and you can have one. You just have to come pick it up.
Look at it. That's paying it
The
forward
crazy
in
part
life.
is, so I didn't even think twice. Like, this could be a serial killer. This could be somebody. I was so determined to get to my dream and to touch that board that I was like, absolutely, I'll be there. So I was there.
Well, what a nice person to do
He
that.
charged me $700, which was still, I love that, like, he didn't give it to me. I love that he was like, I'm still going to charge you, but it's not a full 1,500 or 2,000. So I went with my little 700, and I remember being like, okay, here's the money. And he was like, pick the one you want. And I chose that controller, and that just was the start of something amazing that ended up being a divine alignment.
So you just kind of like taught yourself at home, or like you just learned from Charisma when she was doing her stuff?
Well, I would remember things that Charisma would show me, but I didn't have the big boy of DJing. I had the small 2-controller DJ setup. So I remember just being in my room and just going at it. And Serato has this thing in it where you can record each set. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And again, with that same mic that I've had for years, I was recording my voice while DJ.
Just kind of playing and practicing at
home. The DJ. And it really paid off when Charisma found out I actually was DJing. And she was like, why didn't you ever tell me? And I remember being like, intimidated by real DJs around me. And she was like, I'm double booked. I absolutely need you to finish this party of mine. And I called my sister at the time, I was on air overnight, so I was tracking everything to get out of there.
When we were working together?
Yep, at Real.
Okay, yeah.
Tracking.
So we're gonna stop right there real
Okay.
quick, just to take it back.
Okay.
So Abby and I met when I moved to LA. iHeartRadio moved me from Chicago to Los Angeles, and they created this radio station here in LA called Real 92.3. And they brought Big Boy over from Power 106. That was like a huge deal. Huge deal. And this is in 2015, right?
Yes.
That's when it launched. And so they move him over, Big Boy's in the morning, and I came for afternoons. Abby came over, and Charisma, who she's speaking of, Charisma's my DJ. So Charisma, Abby and I, we were cool, like, because Charisma was our, like, she was like our glue that introduced us together. And Abby, I would ask for her to fill in for me in the afternoon when I would come out. I remember, because now you're talking about you were doing overnights and Charisma was asking you to do something.
Yes.
So I just wanted to put that out there before we start going into the overnights. Go on with your conversation.
So no, I was tracking for the rest of my shift because she was like, I need you. So I called my sister, and my shift is usually, it was 4 to 5 hours at the time. So my sister lived in San Diego. I was like, I need you to drive to Whittier, which was 3 hours from her, get my controller and stuff, meet me here. I'm in sweats and a bodysuit. It happens to be Fashion Nova's holiday party.
Oh.
She was like, I have my little controller. She has the whole setup for her. And I'm like, I need to plug. She's like, you don't know how to use turntables and this? I'm like, no, this is all I've DJ'd on. Please let me DJ on this. So she hooked me up and she left, and I finished the Fashion Nova holiday party, my very first event.
Which was a big deal. Fashion Nova back then was like the big, huge deal.
No, it's a huge event. Yeah. My first time DJ, and I'll never forget it. And I remember being like, oh, this feels right. And it was right. That was the first of many, 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 many events to come. And
and that's how it became consistent.
That's how it became consistent.
I came for
and my radio career and my MC career aligned with DJ finally. So all three of them just merged, and it was just like,
I always wanted to know the actual full story, but you just inspired a lot of women, a lot of people who want to do something. They feel like they don't have the money for the equipment. You know, you just gave an idea.
Yeah.
You know, people can sell that stuff, and you can teach yourself at home and do all the things. So you've inspired somebody today on how they could become and do and teach, you know, themselves.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. Abby and I, we didn't start off as like homegirls and good friends. Okay. Yeah. We worked together and stuff. We actually, what people don't know is, girl, let's just tell the damn story.
Let's tell it.
Because, you know.
Let's tell it. I'm like, do you want to start? Do I want to start? No, I'm just
kidding. Do you want
to start? No, you can head it. You can lead it.
I'm a head it, and then you're going to continue it. So, as I was saying, I was on in the afternoon. Abby was filling in, right? And she had her own shift in her own right. And our boss had invited particulars, only specific people on our team to go see Chance the Rapper at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes.
And we had the meet and greet. We were supposed to all go, you know, backstage with Chance. And we had like the VIP seating at the Hollywood Bowl. And it was like a little box if you've ever been to the Hollywood Bowl. So it's intimate.
Yes.
And again, only a selected few from the team went. So, of course, Abby, you were one of them. And we had our own little section going on. I don't know what was going on. We were all having a good time. Well, anybody who knows me knows that sometimes, you know, we have a little conversation where we could say something, but it's in a playful manner. So, should we segue into you approaching me about asking, or should I say what I said at that time?
You can say what you said. Like, let's say the lead up to the confrontation, if you would.
So we're at the box and we're having a good time. People are saying things, you know, we're all talking, we're all having a good time. Wine is flowing, drinks are flowing. I don't know what was said, but I'm like, Abby, girl, quit being a bitch. And I kept going. Okay, that's all that was said. It wasn't Abby, you bitch. I just so you know. It was Abby, quit being a bitch. That's what it was.
Yeah, but at the time, I don't think you fully knew me yet. And I wasn't the front, like I'm very outgoing, but at the same time, because I'm new to the selected few that was there. And I think at the station, I was only 3 months in at the time.
Yeah.
So I was still.
And there was a lot of gossip.
There was so much gossip.
That station. Oh.
There was just so much messiness in between. So Granted, I think actually some untruths were told to you prior, and I think that's what kind of was the temperature around the comment, which was okay because I remember being like, "Doc, I have to leave," or something, and I think you were like, "Abby, quit being a bitch," or something like
Yeah,
that.
in that
But
way.
I didn't hear. I just heard Doc being like, "Oh, you're leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave." And then I just turned around and walked away because at the time I was in a very tumultuous relationship. So
The one that we're not happy, the one
yes,
that we're
so
so blessed to have be gone.
I
Yeah.
was happy to just kind of dismiss myself and go handle what I felt was my world at the time. So it was very much like I wasn't really keen to what was being said around me or what was happening.
Yeah, you were in your own
Yes,
world.
world.
There was stuff going on in her life and she bounced.
Yes.
So next day, we have a staff meeting.
A mixer meeting or a music
A
meeting.
music meeting. After the meeting, I went to the
We were
studio.
in the studio
and
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 Doc called me in. He was like, "I want to talk to you." And I remember being like, "Huh, okay, Doc, like, because this is our VP. This is
this is like the VP of the company.
of
This is
urban market,
of the urban,
market,
yeah, for the
iHeartRadio.
company. This is like the man who is the man, right? And the direct boss to us.
Absolutely. So rightfully, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm still in newbie mode. I'm still in what's happening mode, and plus, I'm still trying to forge these friendships or relationships because in radio, it's very difficult. Everybody is after everybody's spot and after doing everything. And whether or not you try to be in your own lane, somebody will put you in a lane that somebody else's and you think it's the other. Like it's just so messy in the radio industry, what I've come to know.
Also, it's Los Angeles,
It's
right?
LA radio. It's the
Yeah.
number 2 market in the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
So everyone is dog eat dog, you
Yeah.
know? I remember going into the office and he was
Oh,
like,
he pulled you in.
he pulled me in. He was like, "I need you to come to my office." And I was thinking I was in trouble or something. And he's like, "I want you to know that Nina called you a bitch behind your back. And the way that you left the Chance the Rapper concert." And for me, I don't like bullies. Not that I thought you were a bully. I don't like bullies. I think if you're going to talk shit, say it to my face. If you
That
have
part.
a lot to say it to my face.
That part.
It actually irks me very much when people become scaredy cats and they're quiet in front of me. So because Nina hadn't approached me then, I was still really like, what? She called me a bitch? Like from what? From when to when? So I remember being like, well, is it okay for me to approach her with this? Because I don't like negative talk, number 1, about me. She doesn't know me yet, and the way that Doc had made it seem was that it was in a very aggressive manner.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, "I'm still forging these friendships. She wants me to fill in for her from time to time. I don't like this tension.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go and address it because that's how gossip, that's how rumors start." So instead of talking to anybody else about it, I'm talking to you directly about
Right,
it.
but before she did that, I ended up taking a break from recording and voice check in the studio, and I went to the restroom, and she and our other good girlfriend Ashley ended up being in the bathroom.
Okay.
Remember? And I came out to wash my hands. They were already at the sink, freshening up or whatever. And I was like, "Hey, ladies," like I normally do.
Yeah.
And Ashley's, "Hey, girl," and this one,
Because all this information is being told. So I'm like, so I remember it being told to me, and then I doubled back after the restroom to be like, "Doc, I'm very new here, but I want you to know I don't like he said, she said. And plus, this is like my boss telling me this. So it has to be on a level in which anybody else can know about?" And at the time, I wasn't hip to your guys' history or how long you've known each other. I'm just thinking I'm a new girl, X, Y, and Z. So I was like, I'm going to approach Nina with this and I'm directly going to say, you are the source.
yeah,
And he was like, okay. And I think he thought it was gonna go left, but my approach, I remember going to her studio and knocking on it and being like, "Hey, do you have a second?" And she's like, "I'm tracking for Vegas." She's like, "I have a few minutes." I was like, "Done." And I sat in front of you. You were across the board. I was on the other side of the board. And I was like, "So Doc pulled me in the office right now and said that you called me a bitch in front of him and AO, and these are my superiors. So I just want to know if that's true." And she was like, "Yeah, I absolutely called you a bitch." And I remember being like, "I love this. Do you want to talk about it? Like, do you want to talk about why you called me a bitch? Like, what was it that was told?" And I don't like bully behavior. And I personally enjoy somebody hating me with their gut. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that instead of somebody always talking or
Just
having
stand on
audacity.
business.
Yeah,
Be
stand on
consistent.
business.
Be
Like,
consistent. If you're going to do
lying for bullshit, say it to my
say it to my face.
And
If you're going to sit there and talk and talk and talk and talk, and then you're going to act like a completely innocent, like I didn't say anything.
nothing's being
Nah,
said.
then, yeah.
Oh, that irks my skin to the core.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, okay, let's talk about it. So we created a dialogue that day and we talked about it. And she was like, I actually said it like more like, she's like, you don't know me, but I say things like that. And even though you don't know me yet, it's not really in that space, but I do think you were kind of acting like a bitch that day. And I remember being like, no, I could see that. Like, I definitely had a mood to me, but it was nothing about nobody around me. It's a relationship that I'm in right now and that I'm going through. And
then you broke down and actually said, because we were having that comfortable dialogue, it was very honest. And, you know, I was being receptive to what you were saying. And then when you were explaining to me why, you were like, listen, I don't really need to tell you this, but this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And then of course, for me, you just never really know what a person's going through. And that's a real life lesson that people really need to get. You don't know why a person is acting a specific way, or their attitude has changed, or they're quiet, or you feel like they're being bitchy. They're going through something internal. And you were, and you shared with me what was going on. And you shared with me about how deep it went. And I will always appreciate that, because that's exactly how you and I became friends. Because even after you started sharing that with me, I said it was understandable. I started asking you questions, how you were doing. We physically hugged at that point because we got emotional because it was something serious. And then we both realized, I'm like, so now wait, hold on. How did we get here? How did this even come up? And then you told me how it happened after the meeting and how you were pulled in, and by the person who pulled you in. And by this person has known me forever. Like, every time my career has elevated, he has always helped me and elevate it. And this is a man that I've respected in my entire career. He started by, bringing me to Miami back in the early days. So for me, I was like, wait, what? Like, why? It was so disappointing.
Absolutely.
It more was, the man that I respect is acting this way. Why are you pitting two women that are on your staff?
Yeah.
Why are you pitting them against one another?
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense to me. And because of that, I felt a certain way afterwards. I felt more, like you said, guarded on certain ways and certain people that you thought that you can trust. And it just didn't make sense, because that's not what it was. And you and I realized men can start the drama and act like girls.
Yeah.
There was no reason for that.
I think that's why having conversations is very important. And I think people are so afraid of confrontation and so afraid of actually addressing tough issues or things that are said, because then it makes you actually be held accountable. It causes self-awareness. It causes awareness in your environment of people around you. And it actually makes you just step outside yourself to be like, okay, this wasn't about me. This was more about this situation. And I feel like a lot can be settled with tough conversations.
Yeah.
But a lot was also exposed in that moment where it was like, oh, now we know how to move, or now this is actually disheartening that somebody of this caliber, like especially a man like Doc, would actually put us against each other. But not only that, caused such like a rift, because there was already so much tension between the women. There was only about 5 women there. It was me, you, Spicy, Letty, Ashley, and Charisma.
Yeah.
And that all of us were in our own respected lanes. So to have such a huge, women were caddies. So it's like, to hear another woman calling you a bitch, that's like, if from a man and from a boss and from a VP and from all these things, you're actually like, damn, like, well, what's the vibe? What's the deal? How are we going to move in this station when already so much animosity is happening?
And with all the people that you had named, I love Natalia too. Natalia. I love Natalia. Yeah. Natalia. Oh, my heart. But yeah, you and Natalia and Charisma were my crew, and Ashley.
Yeah.
And that day was meant to be. And he tried to pit us against one another, because after that we had exchanged phone numbers, which we hadn't personally done.
Yeah.
We checked on one another. I remember checking on you a lot and then you opening up to me. And then after that, it was just continuous.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
never stopped.
Yeah.
And then we became like sisters
Yeah.
because we weren't just homegirls anymore. We weren't coworkers anymore. We became family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I, met your sister and I met your family, your entire family.
Mhm.
And what a beautiful family she has. And I'm so actually grateful
Yeah,
that
same.
I'm grateful that I called you a bitch.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm grateful.
I genuinely enjoy relationships that start with a little tension because it always ends up really well. And relationships that always start off really well always end up really well. So I'm like, or even with like fear of just having tough conversations. And that led us to something so great where it became consistent, persistent. Like there was so much positive that came from a negative. And being two women in the LA radio industry is already difficult enough, and two Latinas at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
One man's hate tried to really, and I remember him being like, what is she like, wanting to know what the vibes were going to be? And I remember being like, no, it's great. Like, we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to disappoint
Yeah.
you. You know, sorry to bring positivity to
Whatever the
the
intention
station.
was did not work out in that favor.
Absolutely.
Whatever that was did not work out in that favor because it turned into something else. And one of the most closest people in my universe, you.
Yeah.
And we talk about everything. And that being said, like, life has transitioned for you in such a way that I remember the ugly relationship that I'm so glad that you're out of. From that ugly relationship, Abby, without having to get into any detail that you don't want to get into, what would you advise somebody that's in an ugly relationship that feel like they are stuck, that feel that they are still in it, that they can't get out?
So hard. They say the worst vice in life is advice. So I don't want to give any advice, but if I could give from my experience, it would just be to understand that you you aren't a tree. You know, you can move. There's life after the scary jump into what would feel like isolation, heartbreak, fear, all these things. But also too, there has to be a level of self-accountability and self-awareness that comes from understanding, oh, maybe this isn't the best choice for me. I feel like a lot of women, we like to place blame as to why we don't leave, as to why we don't move, or, all these things, when at the end of the day, we actually set a tone of how we're treated and what we tolerate and our boundaries and things like that. And it's a really tough thing when you have to sit with yourself at the end of the day and be like, actually, maybe I'm the one causing the harm within my life because I'm choosing this for myself. And you have options in your life. You have breath to move and to choose a new path and journey. And it's scary. You can lose everything. You can potentially go through the toughest season of your life at the end of tough relationships ending, even tough friendships. But there's beauty at the end of it all. There's life at the end of it all. There's God's hand is at the forefront of your journey. So I would just say, really look at yourself in the mirror and just be like, is this really what I want for me, for my future, for everything? Because a bad relationship, a bad friendship could cost you everything.
Absolutely. That was beautifully
Yeah.
said, girl.
Yeah.
Because you really transitioned into, you were always the strong person, but you were a whole different woman then.
Yeah.
And what you blossomed into, pun intended on the
Yeah,
Abby de la Rosa,
blooming.
but I mean, night and day, that
Yeah.
day from that conversation that you and I got to know one another to now. And now you're a whole mom of 3
Yeah.
twin boys and beautiful little
Yeah.
girl, actual name. Beautiful.
I just want to preface though beforehand, before we get into another topic, is it's not necessarily like your part. Sometimes people just aren't good for each other. And I don't want to take away from my partner's at the time, from his character, from who he was, and from my character. It's just we weren't good together. And we didn't have the maturity or the emotional bandwidth to be like, we can't do this. Instead, we just took each other through the ringer because we just wanted to say we worked it out or to not give up 5 years or 4 years. And I think moving forward takes a lot of maturity and like I said, self-accountability to be
It's
like,
true.
this person isn't good for me. And we actually bring out the worst in each other. I bring out the worst in you for some reason. I trigger you in these ways and we should move forward. So I just want to preface that because I don't want to bash my prior partner.
Right.
I just want to say sometimes people just aren't good for each other.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, even though we had our great moments, that person at the time in my life, we weren't good for each other.
Yeah.
But he went on to do great things and fulfill all his dreams, which is the most beautiful part of it. But like I said, there's beautiful life after tough journeys.
And it's true though, we were younger,
Yeah.
every relationship when you're younger, you haven't learned yet. You
Yeah.
haven't really loved yet. You haven't really been in a relationship yet. You haven't really learned through those lessons of how to be calm and how to communicate better
Yeah.
and how to not react and you listen before reacting,
Yeah.
take a moment, take a beat before you actually say, 'cause some of the things that you might say you can't take back.
Absolutely.
And it's hurtful things that
Yeah.
that person will never forget. And
And I found myself in that position. We were able to have a conversation years later, and I was able to apologize for all the mean things. Like, there's so much power in the tongue. And I didn't realize, like, yes, women, we are precious vessels and goddesses and queens and all that, but our words can also hurt and tear down the opposite sex. And I remember just tearing that person down with my words and thinking that it was okay. And years later, I was able to be like, I genuinely want to apologize for all the hurtful stuff that I said to you. I wasn't in the most emotionally mature space and place or emotionally aware space and place. And I said some really hurtful things. And I'll never forget that dialogue that we had was very adult, very mature. And it actually caused what I thought would be clarity in my heart, like my conscious. It actually caused clarity and healing for that person as well. So it was
like a
really
closure
a
that
closure, and it took years to get there, but it was had and it was well received. Yeah,
But that does take work in your own self, you know? You
absolutely,
gotta step away from things too. People don't realize, like, you think that, oh, I can't leave this person, I wanna stay, and then it's like, na-na-na, na-na-na, and that's all it ends up being, and it ends up worse.
absolutely.
If you take time, whether it be a month,
Yeah,
2 months, a year,
yeah,
10 years,
yeah.
whatever it is, if you have grown within yourself and people don't realize, but it sounds very cliche, but how can you make anybody happy if you yourself don't know how to make yourself happy by yourself?
I think
How do
that's
you
one
not
thing
know
I
how to be happy?
admire about you, sis, is that you've always put Nina first. You've always allowed Nina to
Right.
always be. And I remember you always just being in your routine. Like nothing could sway you from your routine, your vibe, like what you, even down to your menu at restaurants, like what you like that, nothing could like move you from that. And I remember just being like, oh God, like that's such great self-love and self-worth, but also just self-discipline. And when
Thank
you're
you.
in such a bad space, you don't have that because you're just so worried, like text messages and this and that. And it's just like when you actually are able to breathe and find that beauty that you're talking about of self-love and all that, it does really make such a difference.
It took time for me too, sis.
Yeah.
It did. I have moved around since I was young, like right out of high school, young in this career. I started super early. And, when you move around and you're that young, you have to learn how to have boundaries and watch who you allow into your personal world. I mean, I'm a young woman at this time in a male dominated business.
Yeah.
And I'm in Miami for the first time, like for my full time, living on my own, like out there. And the world is beautiful and it's fast and there's a lot that you see and the celebrities are the friends. So you're seeing a lot at these parties that
Yeah.
people, and you don't talk about it, you've seen a lot, you've gone through a lot, but you also have to manage how to maintain your reputation because I always thought about it as being like a politician. Well, now let's not say politician because there's some, we clearly know there's ugly ones. So let's say this. I always looked at it like I didn't want to disappoint my parents.
Yeah.
I wanted to always have a good reputation. I never wanted to be an industry hoe. I always wanted to look at it like if I'm going to run for president, is anybody going to have dirt on me?
Yeah.
So I always made sure that I maintained being a lady in this business and not being sloppy. And like, if if you feel a little bit tipsy, well, you're on your own. You don't have people. You got to meet friends out here. You don't know if these people are shady or not.
Yes.
You got to watch who you bring around. And so by the time life had gone from decade to decade and city to city, that is why I know how to be alone.
Yeah.
From relationships being hurt and heartbroken and choosing myself
Yeah.
and to step away because this is not good for me. I'm crying all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm hurt. I feel betrayed. I don't feel loved. I thought I was loved. Like you have to step away from that.
Yeah.
And that takes time. And then like it turns into, you know what? I am worthy.
Yeah.
I am strong. I have done all these things. I have beautiful people in my life.
Absolutely.
I have close friends like you and the close friends in all these other cities. And, a really close person to me in my life had always told me, way back when I would say so-and-so was my friend, don't be calling everybody your friend. Not everybody's your friend. You're going to be able to count on one hand or two because of places that you've lived so many places, but you will be able to count on one or two hands who your actual friends are. Some of those people that you thought are your friends, when things go away, are they going to be there? And he was right. No, like when I left Miami, girl, and I was young, the calls, they slowed down. But you best believe that they sped up when I got back to Chicago or when I got to LA. All of a sudden, oh my God, where you been? Where the hell you been? Now I know you wanted me for what it they, so we have to watch that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But the self-love comes in time where you have to protect your own peace and know how to. I'll go out to dinner by myself. I don't have a problem doing that.
Listen, and if you don't have a friend, if you know anything about Nina, not only will you leave a restaurant with 5 friends, you'll either leave a restaurant with a potential love interest, with the manager knowing your name, your favorite wine, with there's not a space we walk into, Nina, and we don't end up leaving with some sort of new connection or, an appetizer on the house, glasses of wine. Like, this girl is the most social person I've ever met. And I'm always like, hi, Nina. I just know a good time is in store. We could be anywhere in this world. She can make friends with a polar bear and we'll have a whole igloo waiting for us at the end of our trip. Like, that's just who she is, which has been hilarious, but it's really who you are.
That's so funny.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, that being said, I could become friends with anybody.
Yes.
I've known your partner, your father of your children since 2002 or 3.
I remember.
Nick was little Nick Cannon, okay? I've been knowing him that long. And, Abby went from being this, always with me at the radio station and us hanging out. So then we both just were like, we out.
Yes.
So then we weren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And then, I remember that's how Nick ended up becoming more than just a friend with you.
Yes.
And it sprouted on friendship.
Yeah, I actually think he's very competitive. He's very competitive now that I know him. So, you know how we weren't allowed to talk to people at the rival station?
Yes.
Like our jobs were at stake.
Yes.
People don't know that.
Yes.
But Doc gave us specific rules that we weren't allowed to speak to anybody at our rival station. And I was the overnight chick and Nick was the morning show muhead. So he would be there going into work. I'd be coming out of work and he started just coming in my DMs being like, come see me DJ, come see me. I see you DJ, come see me DJ. And I'm like, I got work. Like my work was my love. It was my first love. And I'll never forget. It started on the down low. First Charisma gave me like the insight that cause she moved to the rival station. Rival station.
Yeah, it was the rival station.
And she saw Nick having all the interns looking up my profile on their laptops, and she was like, I don't know why he's doing that. Like, I'm your sis. Like he could just ask me. And then I remember going on our first trip together, and then you were like, are you seeing Nick Cannon, sis? And I remember being like, no, no. And then you're like, all right, sis. You were like, I know a thing or two. And I was like, what do you know? But no, it blossomed into something else. And, now we're here years later, 7 years.
7 years it's been.
Yeah.
and 3 beautiful kids later. I remember I have a cute picture of me holding the twins.
Oh my God, when they were brand new.
When they were brand new. We had a time that day. I'll never forget.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was. And then Beautiful came along, and then here we are. And you guys, he was here when I arrived, and we're, hey, what's going on? So your private home life, like he is around,
Absolutely.
When I will say this, when people always say, oh, this guy's always busy taking pictures and photo shoots with all the different families.
That's so funny. That was one thing I addressed last time, was like, people really think that he's like a photo shoot dad, and he's not. He's not just that. So it's really funny, everybody's own perception of who he is, because his schedule really is insane and intense. But like you saw otherwise.
No, he's
And that's not planned. That wasn't like, be here because Nina tell me and you're gonna be here. Like, no, it's a whole different situation when you see it.
Yeah, like, coming over, and even we'll be on the phone, and, he'll be, in the background, and you're like, you know what, I'm being rude, I gotta go. I'm like, all right, cool, like, I'll talk to you later. And the family home life was present when I walked in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was babies around, it was him around.
Yes, it was a lot. It's a lot.
You didn't even have your shirt on yet. I mean, she didn't come. I mean, like t-shirt. She had chill clothes on.
Yes, I had my mommy clothes.
Yeah, you had the chill, t-shirt vibing, and the kids are running around, and you're like, and I just love seeing that. And that's what people don't know. It's not a photo shoot. It's not, we're trying to be perfect at all times in photos. Yeah, we want to be cute on social media. Who doesn't? But people don't get that.
Yeah.
And people don't get the dynamic that you are the round the way girl. You are the chill,
I don't try to be, I am that.
That is you.
I don't think that that's fully given to the world just yet. But that's who I am. And that's who I'm excited for people to get to know. And talking to you or talking to other, podcasts, it's like people still even get a clip of me, or like not who I really am. And you know exactly who I am, Nina, which I've always appreciated. So even when I came into this big old world, you were like, sis, you have not changed. Like, you still are the same. And I'm so proud of you for that. And it really is. My family is my world. My son, getting him to progress with his autism is my world, everything. And now I'm at a standpoint of finding the healthy balance, not getting back to who I was, because I don't want to go backwards, but just finding what the new journey is for me.
What do you want to do, Abby?
Oh, sky's the limit, sis. No, I don't say that like lightly. I really mean that, because I truly feel like skies is the limit for me. I've been really blessed to attain and reach and feel all my wildest dreams, all my wildest goals. And whether that be monetary, or whether that be in family, rich in family life, wealthy in love, wealthy amongst friendships, connections, it all turns out differently in my world, but I feel really blessed right now. I think the next thing I want is for love in every frequency to reach the masses, and to understand music is healing, sound is healing, love is healing. And in that, we can actually help people in sound. And with my child, like, he knows sound in his own ways. He knows his talk buttons, because that's sound of voice, that's voice tone, that's, my kid Zion knows music. He plays guitar and piano, beautiful. Like, there's so much healing properties to sound. And that's what I want the world to see and to get to know with love in every frequency.
I love that. And I will always support that. And I've seen his progress. I mean, it makes me want to cry. Like, he has, I mean, really, really, you're a great mom, Abby.
Thank you.
You are a great mom. And you're definitely, present, and you want to make sure that
That's why I'm fighting though right now, sis. Like, I'm fighting head and heart, because I know when I'm in career space, that's all I see. And when I did the morning show with Nick for a year, it was help raising my kids. It was different aspects a part of it. And my son wasn't progressing. And the moment that show ended, I was like, I'm going to dedicate this time to my son. I'm going to dedicate getting him the best of the best. And that's what we did. And now he's laughing. He's looking at you. He's saying words that I used to just be on my knees praying about. Like, there's so much that has happened And, granted, Nick is like, you could do anything. Like, you want to do this? You want to do that? And I have this fear where I'm like, if I do that, is my son going to regress? If I do that, will the progress continue? Like, I'm literally fighting head and heart in this. And having a special needs child, they don't give you a playbook to do this. They don't give you a handbook. This is how to have career and home life. This is how to have a functioning household and, a successful,
Yeah. Because you have come from, you had your own success in your own right. That's another thing I want people to know.
Thank
Like
you.
you did
Letting me
not,
know.
you did not get with Nick Cannon to become somebody.
Yes.
You were already somebody. You were
Absolutely.
already on the competitor station.
Absolutely.
You were already the DJ.
Absolutely.
You were on that morning show because that's who you are. That was your profession. That was your career. And he sees your talent. He knows your talent. You didn't just go, get with him to get anything. So that's another thing I want people to know about you. Your honesty, the bullying that comes along with people's comments and whatnot in the comments, and it's like when I see these things, everything in me wants to protect you and say something, but I'm not going to feed into it because I'm like, you guys have no idea who this woman is.
Yeah.
She's a mother who cares deeply. Look at you talking about how you're wondering if you can move on to go in your career, which I know you want to do, Abby.
Yeah.
You know how to spin and you love that. That is your passion. And I really do want to see you continue to do that here and there. But yeah, your kids are your priority.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to balance it and feel it even shows more your character about, so no, you don't want things for free. No, you did not get in a relationship for things. And that's what I want people to take away from this too. And if you're going to come for my girl, hey, have a conversation. Have a conversation. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what it is. Your perception is your perception. And of course, there are so many different parties involved in this, community and family of which you have with him. And, some people choose to not know you yet. And some people, but you have always advocated to want those kids to get to know one another.
Absolutely.
To have those siblings get to know one another. And I admire that. Out of all of those mothers, I will say that you, and I'm not shading anybody, but what I'm saying is I really want to give you your props on making sure that you have those kids get to know one another, that those siblings know one another.
Yeah.
You are the most loving person that just wants energy and peace, to be calm, to be loving. So you are your brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are your brand.
I might not agree with a lot of the outside opinions of others, but I do know one thing to be certain, and that's siblings are siblings, brothers, sisters, all that. And it's a really beautiful thing. And the world has yet to see Nick fully in that dynamic. But I know that this home has really been a blessing to a lot of beautiful moments and has really aided in that. And I'm excited to continue to bring that here and to do that and to advocate for sibling closest. Like I said, it could be like forever fuck you, but can the kids play? Cool, we got understanding, then let's move forward with it. If not, then that's okay too, in time. Like, you also got to remember the children are on their own life's path as well. And they will eventually have moments where the mothers don't need to be involved and they're going to be like, why couldn't I get to know you sooner?
Yeah.
Why was I missing this sooner?
Yeah.
Or why did this happen? And one thing I want to always give my kids is the ability to say, my mom never kept me from getting to know you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you can tell,
Is that our cue?
that might be our cue.
That's our cue.
That's some lawn care going on in the background, and our energy. It got loud back here. So that was a wonderful way to actually let people know that that's who you are. And I can't wait for everybody to get to know the person that I know and love.
Thank you.
And
we're really unmuted here. I gave you some exclusives, sis. Nothing I've talked about yet. So, y'all, I only bring that to my girls' podcast. So I love you, Nina.
I love you too, sis. And hey, thank you once again to that boss that tried to pit us against one another, because here we are, unmuted with Nina Chantele. Because silence never told the full story.
That's a good tagline, Nina. I love that. That's good. That's good. I know the team was hot with that tagline. I loved it. Good stuff, sis.